Hallelujah. Do you love Jesus? Give him a hand clap. If he saved you, give him a hand clap. If he's heard your cry, give him a hand clap. If he's delivered you from anything, give him a hand clap. Oh, come on. Let's be a grateful church tonight. Hallelujah. Somebody shout hallelujah. Is there anybody in here that is grateful tonight? Say hallelujah. My. They say you don't know your neighbor's praise or worship if you don't know the struggles that God has delivered them through. In Victory Outreach, we should be the church that has some radical worship, that we would have to explain to people what God has brought us from. Because they would just have to look at us and say, man, you are psychedelically crazy. Why are you worshiping God the way that you worship him? And you got to be able to tell them, allow me to tell you what God has brought me from. Let me tell you, since God delivered me, this is what he continues to do in my life. Let me share why I worship God this way. I am a grateful sinner today. Hallelujah. Please have your seats. I guess if you can tell, I'm grateful today to not only be alive, I should be dead. That's very true. Numerous times I've overdosed. I don't know how many times. Some people know how many they've overdosed. I don't. I used to get mad when people pulled me out of an overdose because it cost me a lot of money to. Why'd you wake me up? That was good dope and good money. But I should be dead. I don't deserve to be here behind this pulpit. This pulpit here, that this is God's pulpit. This is where he tries to send his word to his people, to his children, to beckon you to learn how to come to him and how to receive him so that he can come into your hearts and transform you, and so that he can fill you with his peace, and so that he can fill you with his joy. And so been given the honor to be able to be a transmitter of this word is a far greater thing than I can ever imagine. I couldn't imagine life outside of prison, yet being behind this pulpit here. So I want to thank you, Pastor Esteban, Sister Chella. I love you with all my heart. All of my heart. I honor you. And these are my parents. It's heavy, huh? But I give them the same commitment and loyalty that I did my earthly parents. You see, today if my dad was to tell me, Gregory, sit down, well, I'd have to tell him no. But anything else, I would do what my father said or my mother. And that's what I give these two, because I know that God has placed them here. So I thank you, the pastoral staff. I thank you, Recovery Home, Victory Home. I wish I could pull my heart out and let you know how much I love you. I want you to know that. Ministry Home. Marianne, Manny Jr., Manny the Third, Nevaeh, the other Cholo, Jason, Willie, Damien. I love you guys. Antonio. Man, I'm getting close to Antonio. I've always wanted to, then God placed me there. Huh? Then all of you, my church family. My God, I love you. And then, of course, my wife. My Lord Jesus. Her and my worship is probably the greatest what God has brought us through. We shouldn't be here. On my way here, or when I got here, I was going upstairs, and I've been trying to get a hold of God all day. And I was walking past the choir room back here, and I heard AJ playing the keyboard. And I don't know if when you were singing the songs here today, did you feel the presence of God? The presence of God just began to get so heavy here. But the presence of God is everywhere at all times. But sometimes we just have to worship God in order to get everything off our mind, in order to get in that place to where we can be positioned for victory, and to where we can be aware of the greatness of God. And I was walking by the choir room, and I heard AJ playing and singing. And tonight you heard him singing his heart out. This man knows how to get into the presence of God. This man knows the power of worship. And this man knows the joy of God. And that's how we have to do it. And I'm going to ask AJ if you'll sing that song that you were singing in the choir room, please. And if you feel like standing and raising your hands and closing your eyes, let's get in the presence of God tonight. Let's get in the presence. Hallelujah. Maybe lower these lights here a little bit, please. Do your thing, AJ.
And all I desire is just to be with you. And all you desire is everything in me. Never imagined that I could find a love so faithful, it goes on forever. So here I am waiting. Take my hands and all of me. As I come, seek your face. May this new day be filled with your grace. Won't you come, dwell in me. Father, have your way. And let your name be magnified in all of my days. You are glorified. Won't you come, dwell in me. Father, have your way. Jesus, you're so faithful. And all I desire is just to be with you. And all you desire is everything in me. I never imagined that I I could find a love so faithful, it goes on forever. So here I am waiting. Take my hands in all of me. Oh, as I come, seek your face. May this new day be filled with your grace. Won't you come, dwell in me? Father, have your way. Lord, let your name be magnified in all of my days. You are glorified. Won't you come, dwell in me? Father, have your way. Father, have your way in me. Father, have your way in me. Father, have your way in me. Jesus, have your way in us today. Consume us, Lord, today. Have your way.
Hallelujah. I'm going to ask everyone to stand, please. Everyone stand. And we're going to read from Luke 19. It's a familiar section of the Bible, probably one of the most familiar. You'll see pictures all over the children's and nurseries and the churches. AJ, thank you. You're called, man. AJ, you're called. I love you. Thank you. Pastor preached on it a couple of times just recently. Say amen when you have it. It says that Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. And a man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and he was wealthy. He wanted to see Jesus or see who Jesus was. But because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. The King James refers to the crowd as press. So he ran ahead and he climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him. And since Jesus was coming that way, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, or the crowd, or the press, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus, or Zacchaeus, how do you say it right? Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay him back 4 times the amount. And Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save that what was lost. Shake your neighbor's hand and have your seat if you can. Was that a beautiful song AJ sang? Inviting Jesus into your heart, not just to be a visitor, but to be a rearranger. To rearrange your life completely without any reserve. totally surrendered. That is a beautiful song. I know that ladies desire to marry a man that has been broken. Jesus proposes a marriage to you and I as a church, and he desires us to be broken. But sometimes there has to be things that happen in our life before we can get to the position to where we can have that type of a relationship. And here you see Zacchaeus or Zacchaeus. It says that he was the chief tax collector. And it says that he was very rich or wealthy. Now, the chapter prior, in chapter 18, the different versions, or Mark and Matthew and Luke, the different guys, they write about a young man, one calls him. One calls him a ruler. And one calls him rich. So let's say a rich young ruler is mentioned in chapter 18. And he seeks Jesus out. And he asks Jesus, what must he do in order to inherit? And Jesus told him that it was very simple, to keep the commands. And this young rich ruler stated that he's been doing ever since he was a young guy. If I was to ask you, have you kept the commandments just today, what would you say? Don't raise your hand. You'll break number one right there. But this guy kept the commandments all of his life, so say he was a good guy. So we know that getting and inheriting the kingdom, you can't get it by being good, by doing good. He didn't inherit, so Jesus tells him, he says, take all your possessions and sell it and give it to the poor. And we know that Jesus don't want you to sell your goods. That's not how you get it either. But Jesus is able to see that one thing, say one thing, that you're holding on to. And so he tells this guy to let go of that one thing. And it says that he leaves very angry. He made a choice to keep the riches of this land. He made a choice to keep his hand on some possessions. We know that possessions that you have actually have you. They say that monkeys in Africa, the way you capture them is to put a banana in a jar. Because they put their hand in the jar and they grab the banana, but they won't let go to get free. Today we sang about freedom. But Jesus says in order to live a life that's free, there's stuff you have to let go of. And sometimes we have to hit a spot before we get to that spot. That topic is hot. Zacchaeus here, he was a short man. And he was looked down upon. Zacchaeus means pure. He was a purebred Jew. And in his neighborhood there, they sold balm. That was a sap out of trees, and it was very expensive because it was believed to have medicinal powers. And there in Jericho was a commerce area, sort of like a port area. So everything had to come in and out and through there. Like Oakland or Long Beach, and you have customs. You have people that say what can come in and come out. Your daddy works for the port, mija. It's good to see you. Nadine, you keep up the good work. You're bringing in people right on. God bless you. And so in the ports there you have what they call customs. And they charge taxes. In other words, man, they're making money off the backs of everyday people. And they didn't get paid much because they had to surrender the money to the Romans. The Romans were charging the Jewish people on their money that they made, but they used Jewish people to tax them. And it said that he was a chief tax collector and that he was wealthy. So he was banking on his own people. So I'm sure that by living and making money on the backs of his own people, they didn't look up to him. They looked down on him. They despised him. So not only did he live a life of being despised and looked down upon physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. Nobody liked him. If people would have seen Jesus coming to him, they would have murmured and complained. No, they did. Because they just thought that he was no good. But they didn't know that something was happening inside of his heart. And they didn't know that something had been happening inside of his mind. That he had been going through years of people looking down upon him because of his physical stature and the choices that he made. There, with all that money being made in that area of Jericho, it had become a top area of commerce again. Temptation comes your way. It's easy to fall into temptation. He fell into this temptation, and then he got good at it. The temptation had him, and he developed a life to where he hit the position of chief tax collector. But the thing is that money doesn't give you freedom. Possession doesn't give you freedom. He was still empty inside. He still felt lonely inside. He still felt empty inside. He still felt miserable inside. On the outside, all everybody seen was a no good individual that could never change. But something was happening on the inside. You see, when you see Jesus go to the tree and tells him to come down in a hurry, he comes down, and it looks like an immediately change, that a change happened like that. That's what it looks like. I seen birth. I got to go see a baby born. A couple of them. I tried not to. But they said, come in. I go, I'm cool. No, come in. All right. And bam, there's the baby. You know, and there's some screaming, sometimes cussing. Then bam, there's the baby. Looks like it's an immediate that it came out. But it took something 9 months going on. Here you see a transformation take place like that. But there was something going on inside of Zacchaeus for a while. He's been tired, man. He's had enough, and he's trying, what can I do? I'm tired of this life. I'm tired of being miserable. I'm tired of being lonely. I'm tired at night, man, all day long smiling for my friends, looking like everything is psychedelic and cool. But when I lay my head down at night, I'm one miserable fool. I'm tired. What can be the answer? You see, that's the difference there. The young rich ruler in 18, he felt he was still all that in a bag of chips. And he wasn't ready to let go. But Zacchaeus was prime candidate for Jesus Christ. He was ready. He wasn't going to hold on no more. He's ready to try anything. There's an urgency you see in these scriptures right here. Say urgency. There's an urgency to see Jesus. There's an urgency for repentance or restoration. And there's an urgency for salvation that you'll see there in them scriptures. You see, he could not see Jesus because of the crowd. The crowd in King James is called the press, not the news reporters. All those guys can get in the way too. But what it means is company. And sometimes you can't see Jesus for a few things. The company you keep. The people and the things that might be around you might be blocking you from being able to see Jesus. See, there was a few things that kept Zacchaeus from seeing Jesus. One was his physical limits. Two was the crowd and things. The people and things around him was keeping him from seeing Jesus. And three, his sinful nature. The sin inside of him, or his lack of spirituality, or his spiritual limitations. All these odds were against him. He couldn't see Jesus. He was seeking the answer. He wanted a change in his life. He was even around Jesus Christ, but he couldn't get to him. So what he does is he's urgent and he wants to see Jesus. He knows, and he's being honest about some of his limitations. He knows that he's too short. And he knows that the people around him are blocking him from seeing Jesus. And he knows that I have to do something right away, man. I am sick and tired of the way things are going. I must do something. He becomes urgent. So he sees a tree, a sycamore fig tree that grow very tall. But they have low-hanging branches. And so it looks like I can climb that. I can do that. And I can see Jesus. Some of us have come to church and we want to see Jesus. And we are tired of the life that we're living. And we're curious, can this Jesus actually save our lives? It says that he wanted to see who Jesus was. It didn't say he wanted a relationship. He was seeking to see who Jesus was. And sometimes we come to church seeing who this Jesus is. Can he really change us? And so we come here. But then what happens is we start trying things on our own way. You can't see Jesus by climbing a tree no more than making a Tower of Babel. Climbing physical things and doing things on the external cannot have some changes inside of our lives. It don't have the power to do that. But he tried to climb a tree. He climbs up this tree, and Jesus goes right to him. There's a whole crowd of people, but Jesus chooses to see him. And he tells them, make haste and come on down. I must dine with you today. Huh? You see, some of us, although we've made the trek here in church, and although we've made the trek to make changes, and we know that we want change in our life, although some of us have hit in that spot till we're miserable and we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We want changes to happen in our lives, man. But you see, sometimes still we want changes, but we ain't willing to make the changes. Do you follow me? We want everything to change, but we don't want to pay the price. That's what happened to the rich young ruler in chapter 18. But Zacchaeus, he was willing to do whatever he had to do. He climbed the tree, but that was not the answer. But the answer came to him, and the answer found him in that tree. In that tree, Jesus found him, because it said, I came to seek that which is lost. Jesus finds us when we hit that spot where misery has hit its spot, when we've had enough, when we get sick and tired, to where we become urgent, to where we're willing to do whatever we have to do, to where we're willing to give away anything we have to give away, to where we're willing to let go of the banana in the jar. Some of us are still in that tree here in church. Hold on. That's cool. Being in the tree is cool. That's what got Jesus to recognize him. But don't stay in that tree. Jesus is calling you down. Jesus is calling you out of your tree. The trip is this. In chapter 18, he don't call that guy by his name. What's his name anyway? Anybody know? Any scholars in here? Anybody know the rich young ruler's name? But we know Zacchaeus' name. Jesus calls him by name. When you call somebody by name, that means, you know what? Let's get intimate. That means now let's have a relationship. You see, Jesus knew that the other guy wasn't ready to have a relationship with him, so he don't even call him by name. A matter of fact, he puts him through a questionnaire. Why you call me good? Are you trying to play games with me? Are you trying to test me out? I'm not somebody that you play with. Come back to me when you're ready. Come back to me when you're ready to be broken. Come back to me when you're ready to do whatever it might take to climb a tree if you must to see me. Now I will come to you. Now I will find you, because my purpose on earth as Jesus Christ is to find those that are lost. And you and I, my friend, we are lost. We've been lost. We've been seeking salvation. We've been seeking solutions. We've been seeking answers and everything but Jesus Christ. We tried materialism. We tried position. We tried prestige and relationships with other people. We tried climbing trees. We tried building towers of Babel. But my friend, the only answer is Jesus Christ. He's the only way of salvation. He's the only answer to save us. Hallelujah. Are you ready to get out of your tree? Are you ready to let go of your banana? Monkeys are in trees, but I'm not knocking nobody in the tree. Hold on. I'm going to try to hit it again later if I can, because that tree is intriguing. That tree is intriguing. Zacchaeus, he couldn't see Jesus because of the people, but he saw a tree in the midst of the road of Jericho, in Jericho entering. There's a tree. Now this is a place where a lot of money's being made. Like a tree, you don't see them in downtown Oakland. How did this tree survive? Why was this tree there? A sycamore fig tree. Why was it right there for Zacchaeus? The only purpose, I think, it could be a lot more, and I was taught never to allegorize when I went to Bible college. But I'm going to allegorize like a motor scooter, if I may. Because I look and I know the star of this scene here. You see Jesus walking into Jericho, and he's passing through. He's on his way to Jerusalem, I believe, because he got word his friend Lazarus was dead. But on his way to Lazarus, because he wanted to wait 4 days and all that's a whole nother message, he still handled business. Because we serve a Jesus of business. And so as he's going here, he's the star. And Zacchaeus, he's not really a star, but he's there to show you about salvation and what happens when you obey God and Jesus. When Jesus says, come to me, and when Jesus calls you by name, and when you're obedient, what happens? Salvation went to his house. I don't know about you, but when I see pastors' children saved, when I see your children in church, when I see, man, these next generation, when I see you, honey, in church, I want to cry. These are my best friend's daughters right here. When you know that your choices bring salvation to those that have been placed in your care, those that are in your family, those that are going to come from generation to generation, I'm going to tell you something. You can seek a position in a conglomerate. You can become a CEO in a great company. You can make dollars fist over fist. But I'm going to tell you, man, the joy that will come to you when you know that the choices that you make bring salvation not only to you but your household, all those that are under your care. Nothing greater on this earth can come your way. So I know that this dude felt like a bad motor scooter. He felt cooler than that. But the other guy that made a choice not to obey, he left very angry. Tonight you have a choice. You're going to be filled with joy and be able to worship God because of the changes that he makes in your life and your families and salvation that comes to your household? Or are you going to keep holding on to that banana? Now I want to talk to you about the tree, because I think the tree is the co-star of this whole scene. The tree was there where Zacchaeus can see that he can go to the tree to get lifted up. When people come to this church, are they going to see you as a crowd? Somebody that blocks to where they can't see Jesus through you? You see, the crowd started murmuring. The crowd started complaining when he called Zacchaeus out by name. You see, that is not somebody that when you come in these doors, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because that's who we are, Victory Outreach. We're a church that's here, and our purpose is for those that have hit their bottom and have gotten tired of being sick and tired. And when they come through these doors, what are they going to see? People that block them from seeing Jesus, or are they going to see trees? People that can come and they know I could run to him, I could run to him, I could run to her. They got branches hanging low. Yes, they might be tall, but man, they got branches down to here, and I know the branches are strong enough to hold me. It's going to be able to carry me, because I know I got issues. I know I'm not coming alone. I'm bringing my baggage. They got branches that are strong enough so I can climb upon them. You see what I'm saying? They got branches of understanding. They got branches of patience. They got branches of love. Branches of affirmation and identity. Branches of availability. People come in here, they need to see that they could come and tell you anything, and that you're not going to spread it all over the place. They got to see you got a branch of loyalty. They got to know that they need you. They need companionship. They know that they have to cut the crowd loose. They need to see branches of availability. They want to be able to come clean of things that they've been carrying around too long. They need branches of understanding. We need to be tall, and we need to be trees, like planted next to the water, where your leaves won't change colors from season to season, that you will bear good fruit. But don't forget, my friends, we need to have low-hanging branches, strong enough to where when people come in here, they'll see those branches, that they'll be strong enough to carry them. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Trees. I left my phone. Hallelujah. So we got to go from being in a tree, thank you, baby, to being a tree. Are you with me? From being in a tree, changa, to being a tree. Okay? See, some of us have been here a little while, but we're all in one of these spots. Am I right? Okay? Some of us are here today. We're seeking. We're seeking. Some of us have hit our bottom. Some of us, I'm going to tell you something. Someone told me the difference between knowledge and wisdom. I'm going to try to hit it right. I know the men like the story where knowledge and wisdom are sitting on a train track. And knowledge says, hey, a train's coming. And he turns to wisdom. Wisdom's gone. But I also heard that knowledge is learning the hard way. But wisdom, you can learn from others' mistakes. And you can learn from reading the Bible. And you don't have to go that far. Do you understand? And I believe that there's some of us here that have hit that bottom. But I know that there's some wise people here today. Today is a smart generation. And they know that if I keep going, that's where I'm headed. I don't have to finish going. And they're here to make a wise choice. And I applaud you for that. And there's others that have came and you've been trying to get close to Jesus on the ways you think. Just like Zacchaeus, he thought he can get close to Jesus by climbing a tree. And some of us, we try to get there by doing deeds. And some of us, we get there by trying to hang out with the right people, thinking that can get us elevated to see Jesus. But the story here is you might be there, but you have to come down tonight out of that tree. You have to be willing to let go of your misery and come out of the tree. You have to be willing to let go of your loneliness and come out of the tree. You have to be willing to let go of your way, of how you strategize, and surrender your plan and your will to Jesus Christ and come out of that tree. Zacchaeus, he came down and immediately he changed his ways. And I'm going to tell you something. Surrendering his ways didn't make him any poorer. Surrendering to Jesus never makes your life worse. It makes your life far greater. I'm going to tell you right now, his house became beautiful. His home became a place of worship. Do you follow me? Don't be afraid to sacrifice and surrender tonight to Jesus Christ. And then some of you need to become a tree. Some of us have to stop being part of the crowd, so to speak. I know it don't happen in this church. Murmuring and complaining when somebody else gets a breakthrough. Murmuring and complaining when you see somebody getting in contact with Jesus here at the altar, or things happening here at the altar. That's the place, man, that we should all join in as one orchestra and praise God and celebrate God and worship God. When they come in here, they shouldn't see a crowd or they shouldn't see bad company, but they should see a whole bunch of trees that are planted next to a cool spring, full of energy, full of fruit, with leaves that don't change colors. We're all here somewhere. We're all here somewhere. You see, a tree means that now you're able to help others come up. Help others come up. And those that come, they have to see people that they can go to come up. I'm going to ask everybody to stand. Hallelujah. 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 This is Thursday night, and I believe this altar tonight should be a place of worship. This is a great church. This is a place that you and I have been called by name from Jesus. This is a place that we could bring our families to. This should be a place of worship tonight. Those of you that have been around that are trees, sometimes your branches need to be re-strengthened. Sometimes we need to get stronger branches or grow more new ones. Today's a new day. I'm going to open the altars for you. Come and get your branches strengthened. I want mine strengthened. I want people to come and see me as a person that they can come to and talk to and share anything with, and that I'll be able to point them to Jesus Christ. Now, some of you have been trying to get closer to God and been trying to get your breakthroughs, but you just haven't been getting them. You see Jesus, or you know he's right there, but you just haven't been able to get your breakthrough. Tonight's the night. The altar is open. Come and get out of your tree. Come and let go all your misery tonight. Come and let go all your hurt and pain tonight. He's here and he's calling you by name. Don't make haste. Come out of that tree now.